Welcome to another episode of the Humanization Project. I'm here with my friend Shakil. I've been wanting to talk to him for quite a while. I've seen him out at every event, every town hall, everything I've been to since I've started doing this work, I think, and just haven't had a chance to sit down and talk to him yet. So thank you so much for being here and chatting with me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So these Humanization Project interviews are usually a lot of open-ended questions. So the first one, can you just tell us about yourself, whatever you feel like sharing about yourself, who you are?
Okay. As you just stated, my name is Shakil. Um, I was born in Charlottesville, Virginia. My family moved over to Waynesboro, Virginia. So I was raised there part of my life. I lived in a few cities in the country. Portland is one of them. I lived there. I lived in California for a while, Tacoma, California, with my aunt for a while. Came up with a family. My father was an alcoholic. I began a life of crime at a very young age, being poor, family a little bit dysfunctional, with the head of the family being an alcoholic. So a lot of people don't understand how just one person being an alcoholic, being in charge of the family, can spread through my mother, who was verbally and physically abused by my father. How that kind of trickled down in like the thought process of her children, being traumatized at such a young age, but not understanding that you're traumatized. Right. You don't learn that, and some people go through life and they never learn that. Right. So I'm in a stage in my life now where I kind of understand now that a lot of things that affected me during my teenage years, in the years I spent on the street committing crimes, that a lot of that had to do with my upbringing. And one of the things you will hear in our community a lot is that you're a product of your environment. And so that's, when I look at it, I understand. But then there comes a time when you begin to make decisions and choices on your own. So I had the privilege of spending 24 years in Virginia's penal system. It's kind of like where I grew up. It's kind of like where I became a man. It's kind of like when I had self-reflection and looked in the mirror at myself and made a decision that what I wanted to do with my life, and that was to dedicate my life to helping others, especially the youth. I think that a lot of adults are just too difficult for me to kind of preach to, because sometimes when you at least 40 or better, that your mind is kind of made up of what you're going to do in life. Yeah. So, but the youth, we can make an impression upon. So I just was released, as we spoke about, 2018. I've been home now for a little bit over 2 years. When I first came home, I worked real closely with Project Give Back, so I give shout out to them, Oladero Gundy and Clovia Lawrence. I worked real closely with Paul Teller and Prince Bunn, with RVA for Safer Streets. I love them brothers. I love what they do. So I definitely give them a shout out. Currently, I'm working and assisting Michelle Mosby, who I consider one of my mentors, with Help Me Help You. I love the work that they're doing down there, Help Me Help You, as being the hub in Richmond to try to gear and steer those individuals that are coming from incarceration, whether it's jail or prison, to integrate back into society, to reestablish relationships with their families, with their children. And so, I love that, because I didn't get the opportunity to see my kids grow because I was locked up. So I didn't have the opportunity to be a father to them. I didn't have the opportunity to teach them things a father should teach their children. And so I can't make up for lost time, but what I can do is show them that I'm there now and that I can try to rear them in the right direction. I can give them advice. And the thing about advice is that you can take it or you can leave. You know what I'm saying? But you can give it. You know, so my father passed away 2004, I believe. So me and my mother, we are extremely close. You know, it's like you know, that's like skin is to flesh. And so I always wanted to do my best for her, you know, because she deserved that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I lived a long time in regret, thinking that I had let her down, you know, because I wasn't there for her when she needed me the most.
Mm-hmm.
But now, you know, we just, you know, I love it because, you know, God has given me the opportunity to now spend time with my mother. And some people don't get that opportunity. Some people leave prison and their parents have passed on.
Right.
And so I definitely feel blessed, and the mercy of Allah has been bestowed upon me just in that alone. You know, just being released from prison, you know, that's that. I mean, that's fine and dandy, but just for me to be able to embrace my mother, to sit down, to laugh, to talk,
Yeah.
you know, and have conversations, you know, that's the highlight of my days. You know, that's the highlight of my days. So, my brother, my sister, I have two brothers, one sister. Uh, we are extremely close also. None of my siblings have ever been in trouble. So I'm considered like the white sheep of the family. So, you know, they're college graduates. You know, they possess master's degrees. They have families, doing extremely well. I'm proud of them. You know, love them to death. You know, so we get together when we can, and so that's another highlight of my life that God has blessed me with by giving me the opportunity to come back out here into society. Four children, stepchildren, but they mine, so I don't like to call them stepchildren. Um, you know, I practically raised them. So three boys, one girl, and of course the girl's the most trouble. You know, but it's just an experience because you spend most of your adult years behind bars. You know, prison is not, you know, what everybody see on LA Law or something like that, right? Excuse me. So turn this phone off. Because most people don't really understand how the system works that's never been through the system.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of like know how the system works by either someone saying something that they have misconstrued, or they watch TV court dramas,
Yeah.
you know, and they think this is how prison is, and they think this is how the court system is.
Yeah.
But you really don't really know until you really go through that experience.
Right.
Right. And so it's spending as much time as I have in prison. And most of the guys that are in my company, in my circle, have probably spent anywhere from 25 to 40 years in prison. And we've been damaged. None of us come out the same, you know. And sometimes, in some cases, some of us come out worse off than we were when we went in.
Yeah.
And so, psychologically, I tell a lot of people that I know psychologically, you know, I've been damaged, and it took me a long time to realize that. And so, but then realizing that, and then trying to get help, trying to go to therapy, trying to get help, I've come to grips with that. So it kind of it helps me every morning I get up. It helps me
Yeah.
to understand where I come from and understand that psychosis of the way that I used to think, you know, or of harming somebody, not having remorse for the wrongs that you've done.
Yeah.
Right. There was a time in my life when I used to be like that, you know. So, but now in my growth and development, and just coming out and just kind of moving, you know. And I try to give people advice when they come out of prison is just try to keep moving, you know, and don't dwell on the past, right? You know, it's always going to be there, and you know, it's a good indicator of the future, right? So I try to tell those individuals that I work with is that you got to start right now, right today, and sometimes you have to make the mirror your best friend. You know, if you look in the mirror and you don't see a friend, then you know that you have work to do, because you should be the best friend to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't try to be the best friend to everybody else, but be the best friend to you. Take care of you, you know, make decisions based upon your growth and development,
Yeah.
not on someone else's growth and development. And I mean that in the sense of, I see a lot of individuals in relationships when they come home that are really not conducive,
Mm-hmm.
right, to their growth and development. And so what happens is it's like a ball in a chain. And sometimes you can pull it, but then it's gonna come a time when you can't pull it, you know, and what are you gonna do then? And a lot of people revert back to what they know.
Yeah.
You know, they revert back to what they know. So that's, you know, robbing, stealing, selling drugs, or whatever the case may be, and they return back to prison to do longer sentences, you know. And we know how the justice system is. You know, me personally, I just feel so blessed, right? And we have a saying in Islam that's saying, which of the blessings of God will you deny, right? Because we have been blessed so much. And we also have a saying that we can never count the blessings, you know, that God has given us in our life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even the blinking of your eye is a blessing,
Right.
right? That we can't take for granted.
Yeah.
Because if I asked you how many times you blink your eyes, you wouldn't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But God gives us that blessing, so our eyes won't dry up and shut. So the blinking of our eyes keep our eyes, you know what I'm saying, moist, you know, so we can look at each other and see each other and smile at each other. So even that's a blessing in itself. So when you begin to recognize and be grateful and be humble, to me personally, that's my key to my success so far. I have a long way to go, but that's my key to my success so far, because I'm going on 3 years now. I'm being released. I haven't been arrested, you know, so that in itself is a success. You know, I have a very nice job. I work for a company. I work for a company called Nexus, and as I stated to you earlier, that, you know, we do criminal bonding. We also do immigration bonding, and to help reunite families, immigrants in detention centers. Kids have been taken away from their parents. Go ahead, sis.
Explain a little bit what you mean by criminal bondage and immigration bondage, because I think a lot of
Well,
people don't know what that means.
okay. Well, if I got locked up, say I committed a crime. Let's say I stole a Snicker bar in Walmart, and they locked me up. I went before the judge, and the judge says that we give you a $2,000 bond. Well, I could just call a bondsman and give him $200 and get bonded out. 10% I could give him, and I could be bonded out. Immigrants can't do that. They can't hire a bondsman and say, "Hey, my bond is $15,000." They have to pay that whole entire $15,000.
Oh wow.
Right? And the thing is that they haven't even committed a crime.
Wow.
Right? They're just in the country illegally, as America claims.
Yeah.
Or they tried to cross the border and didn't make it and got caught. And what's really sad is that if they come across the border with their children,
yeah,
and get caught, the children go here and the parents go there.
Yeah.
And this is a very traumatic experience for the kid, because that child most likely has never been separated from their parents.
Right.
And now they're separated from their parents in a strange land.
Yeah.
And they're in cages, which a lot of people don't know, right? They're in cages. And so what Nexus attempts to do, and what Nexus does do, is try to reunite those kids back with their parents as quickly as possible, right? So they will pay that entire $15,000 bond, and they're put on a payment plan. So this is not free of charge to the immigrants. You know, it is a business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but what it does is try to reunite these families back together, so they can stay in this country until their court date is over with. Now, when they go to court, they are going to court maybe to seek citizenship, get a green card, work permit, etc. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes they may like you have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so once they leave, their case is over with. But Nexus stays with them, works with them until their case is over. And the same thing with our charitable bonding program. We also will remain with that individual until their case is over. They kind of, even though they're on the program,
Mm-hmm.
we might assist them with getting a job. They might have a place to stay.
Yeah.
Nexus will assist them with getting jobs, or getting a place to stay. So that's what we do.
So it's not just the bond. It's a more of a counseling and assistance and stuff. That's really great.
It's more so that once you come on board, you're part of the Nexus family.
Yeah. Wow.
You're part of the Nexus family. And if you go to the website, you can see all the good that Nexus does in working on both ends. Cool, right? Yeah. Started by Michael Donovan, beautiful brother. Most of the people that work for Nexus are individuals who have been incarcerated. So he tries to give back in that way also. That's to good. Give us an opportunity, which he did give me an opportunity to come out, make a decent living, and I like what I do. So it's right. It's more so not like a job to me, because if I did not work for Nexus, I would still be doing what I'm doing anyway.
Right.
Right. That's why me and you see each other so much.
Yeah.
Right. Because at every event, every town hall meeting, we're there.
Yeah.
Fighting for our loved ones. And it's not just our loved ones that we are fighting for.
Yeah. Even
though they are the most important people to us, fighting for our loved ones, and also fighting for those individuals that are incarcerated.
Yeah.
And just trying to make it a better place for them, make it easier for them to come home, and so they can be successful. And that's what it's about. And that's what it's about. I have a mentor at Nexus, King Salim Kalfani, who he and I sit down often, who used to be the president of the NAACP a while back here in Richmond.
Cool.
Who I sit down often, and we speak a lot about racism and white supremacy and capitalism and socialism and the left and the right and I sit and I listen, because these are the individuals who have been on the front lines way longer than I have.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the individuals that I surround myself with, who I just simply have so much admiration and respect for. So I kind of like take my lead from them.
Yeah.
I take my lead from them. So that's where I'm at. What else about me?
Tell me more about, so Nexus is your job, but tell me more about some of the other things that you do and that you have done that are not necessarily your job, because you've been involved in quite a few different things, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Organizations that I work with since I've been out. Project Give Back to Community, I work with. RVA for Safer Streets, I work with. Paul and Prince, Help Me Help You, I work with. Michelle Mosby, I work with, and Erica Holiday. Love both of them to death in the work that they do. But I'm in the process.
Can you
go ahead.
Before we get to your one, because I want you to talk about yours.
Okay.
Tell everybody what those three organizations do. Help Me Help You, Project Give Back, and RVA Safer Streets. So just so people know what
yes. Well, Project Give Back is provides housing, which is a major issue.
Yeah.
It's probably not even in the state, but probably in the country.
Oh yeah.
For individuals that's coming home from incarceration. And one of the difficulties that we have as ex-felons is that most landlords do not want to rent to us.
Right.
There's only certain areas that we are allowed to rent. So it's very difficult to even find a place to lay your head, even if you have the money.
Yeah.
Even if you have a good job, if you've been out 6, 7 years, when they look up that criminal report and it comes back that you're a felon, and if you ever sold drugs, you're really in trouble. You know, or if you have a sex offense, if you're on a register, it's very difficult to get a job. I mean, to find housing. So what Project Give Back does is that they provide housing for, you know, I think they have, I want to say at least 7 houses now. So they have really grown.
Are they here in Richmond, the houses?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They've really been a benefit to Richmond by assisting the parole divisions with individuals who can't find housing. So that's a blessing. You know, we need more housing for incarcerated individuals. Yeah. We need to have relationships with landlords who will rent to us. They will take the chance to rent to us. And I understand their position also. So I don't want to just kind of like say that they're bad people. They are not. You know, they have a business to run. And I understand, but we just need landlords that work with us. We need that. And then sometimes the criteria even to get in these places, you have to make 3 times of what the rent is. You have to bring home this. Yeah. So when we come out of prison, we don't make that much money. Right. Most of us work in factories, you know, or we get some type of, you know, construction job that's not paying enough for us to really. So it takes time. So it's a difficulty there. So Project Give Back has also barbershop talk where they talk about substance abuse issues. I've spoken in many of these barbershop talks. I used to run a peer support group for Project Give Back. So working with them, like I said, the president and CEO, Oludare Gundy, me and him were real close, but we're still close. Not we're close. We're still close to this day. But I separated from them because I have a vision of my own, right? And so I just, you know, I want to move. Yeah. You know, because you know my vision is a little different from what others do. Yeah. Right. So by me having my own vision and my own desire to help other people and how I think will benefit people the most. Yeah. And sometimes my way might be unconventional.
Well, so, it's interesting. I was talking to, do you know Sheba Williams from No Left Turns? You know her? So she and I were talking a week or so ago, and she said something to the effect of, you know, we all are working together while also working on our own niche, because there's so many parts to this crazy criminal justice system that need to be helped and fixed and, you know, focused upon. And so all of us can have these different focuses and, you know, and still be doing all the collective work together. So I think that's great that you've got this thing you want to do. Tell us about TRAP.
Okay. Well, TRAP is Total Reality Approach Process. And the reason I call it a process instead of a program, because the program has a beginning and an end. But a process is, you know, is ongoing. And the reality part of it is that most people don't know the reality of the dynamics that's taking place around them. We are so conditioned to live a certain way, to behave a certain way. From the time we were born, I believe that conditioning begins. Yeah. Right, whether it's from our parents, our teachers, the streets, our ministers, whatever it is, somebody is conditioning us to think a certain way. And that thought process in which we are being conditioned, we're missing out on the true reality of what's taking place around us. You know, and as far as, when I say that, I mean in the arena of police brutality. Why do we see so much of that? Discrimination in housing, in economics, and just racism in general.
Yeah.
Right. And I always, whenever I speak before an audience, I always begin with this quote. If you do not understand racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you think you understand will only confuse you. And that's by Neely Fuller.
Yes.
And I always open with that because when I speak, I mostly speak on race issues when people ask me to speak. So I always open up with that quote to let people understand the reason why the majority of the people are so confused is because they truly do not understand what racism is.
Yeah.
Right? You know, someone may call me the N-word, and the first thing I say, man, he's racist, he's racist, he's racist. You know what I'm saying? He's just ignorant. You know, that really, you know, it's not. Racism is a system.
Yeah.
You know, it is a system, and it affects the darker you are, it's going to affect you the most. So in the color confrontation of Francis Cress Welsing of the black, brown, yellow, and white, then black is going to be attacked the most, then the brown, then the yellow. And white people are also affected by it, even though most white people do not think they are affected by white supremacy because they are white.
Right.
So they don't think they are affected by it, but they are affected by it.
Yeah.
Right. Every area of people activity, white supremacy rules. And that's in all the areas, you know, of entertainment, education, economics, labor, politics, religion, and war, sex and war.
Yeah.
So in all of these areas, you will see over time where white supremacy has dominated this. Well, white supremacy has dominated this. So if we do not understand this, then we can't understand when we see a George Floyd being murdered, right, or Eric Gardner being murdered, or Sandra Bland being murdered, you know, and even as far back as an Emmett Till or Fred Hampton, or Martin Luther King Jr. or Malcolm X, or, you know, why are these people murdered, right? Or why do you find people who are so peaceful are not harming anyone murdered in cold blood, right? A Michael Brown, right? So you see these individuals and you say to yourself, I can't believe this happened, man. You know, and you might say, you know, I'm shocked that this would take place in 2020, or I'm shocked that this would take place in 2019, right? It seems like we should be over this by now. No, you're not over it because it's ongoing. Yeah. It's ongoing. The process is ongoing. So you have to understand what this racism entails, right? As white supremacy entails itself. So TRAP was designed because of racism, white supremacy, right? Because I want to teach and inform individuals of why they are trapped in their communities. Why they're trapped in their communities, why they're trapped in their relationships, you know, why they're trapped paying such a high water bill, right? That they don't understand why their water bill is so high, right? So this is my desire. My other goal of TRAP is also to, of course, naturally, is to eliminate the injustice that we see in the judicial system, right? Because when I was locked up, the majority of people look like me. If I'm on a par with 86 people, probably 82 will look like me.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. And I've been to 9 different prisons in Virginia. And in every prison I went through, this is the ratio that I see in every single part. Right. That people who look just like me. Right. And one of the things that the owner of Nexus told me in my job interview is that he got locked up one time and went to jail. And he looked around that jail and seen that everybody in the jail was black. And it was just 2 white guys in the jail. And he kind of just watched for a minute and just finally just asked someone, does this bother you? And the guy was like, does what bother me? He said that, it's just 2 white people in here. And the guy really kind of like, hey, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like something he wouldn't notice, but it's not something that we like, hey, it's been like that for so long that that's just how it is. But it's not just how it is.
Right.
It's you have to ask the question is, why is it like that?
Yeah.
So if we never ask the question why, we will always be in a state of confusion. And the majority of people in a state of confusion, as well as we know, we go to those General Assembly meetings, right? And we see the General Assembly sitting up there. They have no clue of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Most of them have never even visited a jail, right? And so we come before them, and we've been down there, and we speak to them about our loved ones, what we've been through, and they look at us like we're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and these are the people who are making the decisions. The people who are making the decisions does not have a clue how the prison industry works.
Right.
They don't have a clue, right? But they have, degrees in criminal justice, right? Some of them are lawyers, but they don't have a clue how this system works. And so it's kind of hard to really get them to see what we're talking about and referring to get them to assist us and to help us. Yeah. And one of the things I'm going through now that I'm trying to write up now is that I was recently called back to court in Harrisonburg. And I was told that if I didn't pay my court costs and fines in full, that they were going to send me back to jail. I've never heard of this anyway. But now I come to find out that they are doing this to a lot of individuals. And the reason that they are doing this is because I know that you remember when we went down to the General Assembly and we spoke concerning taking away someone's driver's license for not paying court costs and fine. Well, finally that passed.
Yeah.
So now you can't withhold driver's license for an individual that does not pay his court costs and fine.
Right.
So they're kind of losing revenue that way because people wanted their driver's license.
Right.
So people were paying their court costs and fine. Now they don't have that revenue coming in. So now what they're doing is say, hey, well, if we can't get it through the driver's license, what we'll do now is we'll start locking you back up for not paying your court costs and fine. And in my situation, I've been paying on my fine every month.
Yeah.
But the judge is telling me that it should have been paid in full by now. And I'm asking him who makes that determination.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So who makes the determination when it should be in full? Or how come you didn't say, hey, when you leave prison, your court cost of fine has to be paid by June such this date year.
Right.
That's not told to you. So anyway, you haven't given me the opportunity even to know my situation.
Right.
I could be sick. I could be in the hospital. I didn't have the opportunity to have a job to pay it off.
Yeah.
So now you're telling me that you want to reincarcerate me for not paying my court costs and fine in full. So now also that since I've been attacked with this, I've looked up so many things that I think people don't know is that when you're released from prison, 60 days from when you are released, they begin to charge you interest on your court costs and fines.
When you come out, how much do you usually owe? Do you know?
Well, everybody's different. Everybody's different. I owed when I got my sheet, I owed $2,235, something like that.
And what is that for? Like what? It's like
okay
processing stuff or?
Okay, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, I think people don't know.
They had me paying $1,200 to a court-appointed attorney.
Okay.
which I thought was free, which
Right.
court-appointed attorneys I thought were free.
I thought so too.
Um, and he was a court-appointed attorney that I didn't even want.
Right.
So anyway, I owe him $1,200. $750 for a felony fee.
A felony.
Felony fee. If you commit a felony, $750. They have me paying restitution, and then they give like so much of the money to internet crimes against a child, which I've never had a crime against a child in my life.
Right.
Right. So, jail fee. I pay in the jail, I guess, to hold me. And I think it's the city, the police, the city of Harrisonburg charge. You know, so it's all these like fees and court calls. And the lady, I went to the clerk of the court, and this is something, right, that they don't want to explain to you.
Yeah.
So when I first came home and I seen this, I went to the clerk of the court. I visited the courthouse and asked them to simply explain to me, why am I paying these things?
Right.
Right. And they won't explain to me why am I paying these things. They don't make, they say they don't make the determination how much you pay. I said, well, someone has to make it.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that why am I paying a court-appointed attorney $1,200? Right? They don't want to explain it to me. So when I went before the judge, he told me some things about a form that the court-appointed attorney fills out, which I had no clue what that was, but now I do know what that is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's what he charges the court. What the court-appointed attorney charges the court. So the Supreme Court sends him a check. So now they want me to pay them back from what they paid him, which we have to do something about, man, because it's like
predatory.
Every month I send them $50. And how much money do you think they take off my fines?
Probably like 20 or something.
Less than that.
Really? Oh
my $7. $7.
Are you serious?
I send them $50 a month. They take out my court costs and fine goes down $7.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I guess that's because of the interest that they charge. And I don't even know, they won't tell me how much interest they charge me every month. Right? So I'm saying, how long do you think I'm gonna pay $50 a month in order to get this paid if it only goes down $7? Yeah. And so I have my receipts to show that every time I pay $50, it goes down $7.
Oh my gosh. So,
and he got mad because I told him this is a sham, man.
Yeah.
This is like the title loan places.
Yeah.
You know, these exuberant interest charges that you're placing on those of us that are coming out from incarceration. You know, that's why we can't, again, trap. You're trapped. We are trapped in a system, right, that is bent on keeping us down, keeping their knee in our necks. Yeah. That's what it is. That's how we're trapped. To where if you look at the emblem on the patch the COs wear, right, you see that it's a man with his foot in the neck of it, on the chest of another man. You know, not that we knock you down, we're going to keep you down. Yeah. We're going to hold you down. We're going to knock your crown off. We're going to hold you down. You know, so that's what they believe in. They believe in tyranny. This is their motto. Thus, always the tyrants. This is who they are. They don't mind letting me know who they are. And so we're trapped in this system. You know, so I wanted to start something that informs people of actually what is taking place around them. We would never be able to dismantle racism, white supremacy. And this is, in my opinion, is the way it's designed up. Some people disagree with me. You know, I don't believe that picketing and protesting is going to end any of this. But I do understand why there is a need to picket. And I understand there's a need to protest, because this is like your marketing tool. You know, this is to tell the world why you're doing what you're doing. But the problem with most people is that what do we do after the protest?
Right.
So if we don't begin to have a plan to say, hey, we protest on Tuesday, but what are we going to do on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday? And so this becomes an issue with our people. So Um, not too long ago, I spoke in front of a crowd, and I asked them what they thought of seeing these police officers killing these unarmed Black men, women, and children. And they said they were tired. And so they had signs up, that, say his name and, you know, um, justice for George Floyd. And so I reminded them that, hey, if you're tired, then I want you to ask yourself, what are you going to do the next time it happens? Because it will happen again, regardless of how tired you are seeing it. Yeah. It's going to happen again. So what are you going to do then? Right? And we can't give George Floyd justice. Right? There is no justice for George Floyd.
Yeah.
We can't give justice to the dead. So our energy, and a lot of times I believe that we are victims of our grief. And we are just so emotional when things like this happen. Mm-hmm. And because we really don't have power. We really don't have a power to fight a system that's been in place for over 500 years. We don't have the power. So what we do out of frustration and emotion, we break windows, we set cars on fire, and then we become, again, victims all over again of our own grief. And that's what you see that's taking place right now in our society. And so I just want people to understand that, together we can win. Together we can win. And it's not about dismantling the system, but it's having a system of our own that we can exist within this system. Mm-hmm. And that's, where my focus is at, is where whenever I go speak in front of any type of audience, I try to tell them that, man, that everything that we see is kind of reverted back to black and white. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they want it. You don't think, but that's how they want it. Yeah. So if if we keep beefing and fighting with one another, right, then the system keeps going on the way that it's going. Yeah. It keeps going on the way that it's going. And so the KKK, they're agents, of the state. The police department, they're agents of the state. So they know how to keep the chaos going, mm-hmm. And then everything is what? Is racial. It's racial. It's racial. It's racial. And so the politics of race is always going to be there, because we really don't understand the dynamics that's taking place around us, because we are trapped in a system that was here when we were born, right? It had an effect on us then, and it has an effect on us now. The prison system is just an extension of white supremacy. White supremacy is not going to allow the penal system not to exist, because what people don't know, we used to live in a world that didn't have prisons. Right? Yeah. So what do we do then? So, but in today's time, we really can't even think of a world without prisons.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So we can't even think of that, and that's because we have been conditioned, to kill someone, to put him on death row. They think there's nothing wrong with killing an individual to kill somebody else. Then him killing somebody was wrong, but you killing him is right because he killed somebody. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. This is the world that we live in. Mm-hmm. That it's okay for you to murder somebody because you are administering justice, is what you think. Right. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't all right for him maybe to kill somebody. Let's just say that because he thought his life was in danger and fear. Because in our communities, people always say black on black crime, and how come black people don't shout and scream when one of our own kill each other? Oh, we do. There's people in our neighborhood, they are afraid too. I carry a gun because everybody in my neighborhood carry a gun. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I need a gun, because everybody else got a gun. In the wild, wild west, everybody carried a gun. Why did everybody carry a gun? Because everybody carried guns. Right? So to be a part of that community and to protect yourself in the event that danger may arise, then you have to protect yourself. And so, like I said, a lot of times we just do not understand what's taking place around us every single day. Social media, TV, movies, all acts of entertainment, all of this has an effect on us, and it definitely has an effect on our children. And we need to save our children, the next generation, and maybe one day, we don't have to have these discussions.
Right. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Well, Shakil, I'm not going to keep you forever.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to add before we go?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have mad respect and admiration for what you do. We need more people like you. Right? Yeah, we need more organizations like the Humanization Project, because we can't do it all. So that's like, when I needed an answer about, I think it was HB, whatever bill it was, I said, hey, I know where I can call. I call you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, what y'all doing, man, much respect. And I just want you to know, man, that if anything I can do to assist you or help you, I'm here for you.
Right on. Well,
All you gotta do is pick the phone.
things to do here pretty soon.
Send me an email, a text, or something. I'm there.
Thanks.
I'm there.
So normally, if we were together, I'd give you a hug, but we're on Zoom.
Hey, social distance hug.
Yep. Social distance.